This driver was so nice and said, "If you feel comfortable to talk to me and let me know what's troubling you." And I told her, "I've just been diagnosed with cancer." She looked around and said, "This is a diagnosis, not a death penalty. God is with you, and I know you will be okay."
Grab it, taste it, and say to everybody, I'm a posh bitch. It is. Let me taste it later.
My life had been full of energy. My pleasure was eating. The best place for me were the ones with food. On my social media, most of the stories were pictures of various foods from different restaurants and fast food places. Suddenly, after giving me the diagnosis, my gastro doctor said, "I'll put you through a gastrosurgeon who will explain everything about your case, Chris, but I'm quite sure you will need to remove your stomach." That was the harder thing to hear. Many questions came up, but the first one was, will I ever be able to eat again? When I got home from the doctor's office, I sat down in my living room and cried a bit more. Then it was time to tell my family, but I had no idea how to start telling them. So I decided to call my cousin, who is like my sister, and I knew she was strong and she could be the first one to know. I made a video call, and as she knew I had an appointment with the doctor that day, she was already expecting I would give some news about it. So I just said, "Well, Jackie, you need to be strong to help me go through it." And she was like, "What is that? You're scaring me." I turned and said, crying, "I've got a malignant cancer." And we both cried so much together. That was a very sad moment, but the worst was to come. My parents. I had no idea how I would tell them, or even if I should tell them right away. Then I also called one of my aunts, who I also knew she was strong, and she advised me, tell my parents, because my mom was already expecting some news, as she also knew I had an appointment that day. So I had no choice. Sooner or later, my mom would text me asking about the appointment, and I wouldn't be able to hide or lie. So I also made a video call, and I started saying, "Mom, Dad, I haven't got good news, but we need to be strong and with positive thoughts because there's hope." My mom interrupted me, already nervous. "What's up, Chris? What's the matter?" So I said, "I've got cancer in my stomach." My dad cried out loudly, and my mom started crying too. It was the hardest, the saddest moment of our lives. The next day I had an appointment with the surgeon, and he explained me everything in detail. The cancer was invasive, a red level 3, located in the great curvature of the stomach. The size was 2.1 centimeters. The surgeon explained me that, because of the location where the cancer was, it wouldn't be possible to remove only part of the stomach. I had to undergo a total gastrectomy, which means I needed to remove my entire stomach. And I needed to do it as fast as I could, otherwise the cancer could invade other parts of my body. My neighbor had accompanied me for this appointment, and she asked the surgeon, "But how will he be able to eat again?" "He will," he replied. He tried to calm down, saying that the surgery was likely to be very successful, and also gave me options for the surgery, including a robotic surgery, which would be less invasive, less traumatic, and with very little bleeding, resulting in a fast recovery and less chances of infection. The total price for this kind of surgery? 84,000 reais. I had no health insurance. I had no idea how I would get this money to pay, but I asked him, "How long do I have to have the surgery in time?" He said, "About 1 month or so. If you take so long, it might get more complicated." I left the office and my neighbor took me to my parents' city. Together, we started to think what to do. although we had no idea how to get so much money out of a sudden. A lot of things came to our minds: sell the house, bank loan, borrow from someone, but all the alternatives seemed to be quite hard, as it was too much money to get easily. Then I decided to start with an online fundraiser and see if people could help with some donation. It could help a little, but with this kind of fundraising I knew I would get by a strike of luck around 2,000 reais, but I had to try it. It was a very difficult decision, because I would have to expose myself, but at that point, exposition was the least thing to concern about. My life was on a tightrope. I was running against time. I had no choice. I had to try everything I could. Of course, that for a person like me who had been very independent, living on my own, a well-known teacher in the city, suddenly got exposed in a fundraising was certainly not the best feeling to have. It was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing. But above all, I wanted to live. I had no choice. For many people, maybe I had been seen like in a very good finance situation, with a good job as an auto-entrepreneur, working by myself. I used to be in good places, living in a good condominium, enjoying life the way I could. Indeed, I was in a good finance situation at this point, because I was working hard though. That's why I was able to pay a good private gastro doctor when I wasn't standing in pain anymore, which helped me find this cancer quickly. However, I didn't have any savings. The more I earned, the more I spent. In summary, I had no money left to pay for this surgery, neither 1/3 of it. So I joined the online fundraiser explaining the surgery I needed to fight cancer. Any amount would be welcome, and for those who couldn't contribute, I asked them to at least share it. And then there was this day my parents and I had a visitor, a friend of ours, especially my parents' friend. He came to see me after he heard about the situation. We were all worried and feeling down. And during this conversation, this person said it would be very unlikely for me to get this money for the surgery. He suggested us find other ways, see other doctors, because that amount of money would be basically impossible to get easily. Well, I got so nervous by listening to his words that sounded so pessimistic to my ears, or perhaps underestimating our condition and effort to get this money. So I raised my voice to him, saying, "Listen, you would not put me down by trying to convince me that I can't get this money. I know it's a big amount, but it's about my life. I don't know how I will get this money, but I will. You will not fade away my positivity. I will get this money. I will have this surgery. I want to live, and I will fight for it. That's all."